Hi everyone, Ryan, data analyst and after sales manager here at Talos Drones, and today we are going to be testing the new T100 dual battery spray kit. So essentially what this is for kind of fighting the battery temperature issues, and also kind of yeah, just, as you can see, the drone is very durable. All right, so new scene. Today we are, it's another day, May 21st. We are going to be over here thanks to Stelly Grove. We are in their field. It is the avocado trees, as you have probably seen in a previous video. So essentially, DJI is allowing us to pretty much conduct testing and everything for this system. It's basically, from what I've already done testings with, it is prolonging the battery life, so prolonging the flight time a lot. And also helping with that battery temperature issue that a lot of people were having with the T100. So now that the load is being split between two batteries, there's gonna be a lot less overheating and a lot less load on these batteries for them to overheat. So we are going to be hovering this drone above the avocado trees in the background you see here. Main reason is because people spend money on helicopters, or people who have drones, they fly the drones over these avocado trees without spraying, but with a full payload. During a certain time of the season, they need to pollinate the fruits and everything. So sometimes it's not as windy. Sometimes it's just like dead no wind at all. So in order to kind of like artificially spread that pollen, people hover helicopters, people fly drones over their trees and everything to spread that pollen around. So that is essentially what we are doing, or kind of like a test or like a mock test of what we're doing. So today I have a full payload in this T100 right now. So it's not the full 26 gallons because we have another battery in that's going to take off on the payload. So right now the total is 23 gallons right now. So we have a total of 23 gallons in this drone, so essentially it is a full payload. And when we fly over the trees, basically because of the full payload, there's gonna be a lot more downward pressure from the propellers keeping the drone up. So that means we're gonna allow for a lot more downward wind, downward force into the trees. And we're gonna basically test and see how well it performs over those trees. On top of that, we're also gonna be testing the obstacle avoidance, the terrain following as well with these trees. And yeah, so that being said, we can get this started. All right, so I have the field mapped out right here. So I'm not doing a standard kind of just a one field map thing. I'm actually doing a multi-field operation. So you can see here, we have two fields, and mainly because I'm trying to keep the drone going essentially perpendicular to the incline of the hill, so we can see exactly the climb that the drone is going to be taking, or how well the terrain following is going to be. So for the parameters, I have spraying off, so it's going to be carrying throughout pretty much almost this entire time, or up until it runs out of battery. It's going to be carrying the full payload. So we're basically maximizing the amount of load it'll take. When you're doing your actual operation and you're spraying, it's going to be lessening the payload, which means lessening the amount of power needed to carry this drone. So that being said, technically the drone should fly longer with an empty tank. And yeah, so I'm just going to be going 45 feet per second. Ideally, probably go slower, but again, this is a test, so we'll just be going 45 feet per second. Height above crops is going to be 10 feet, route spacing around 30, and then it's going to be the same thing for the second field as well. These parameters, I just copied them over. Cool. And then for the flight, so pretty much obviously all obstacle avoidance, everything like that is turned on. I have the drone on Orchard Hill mode. It's going to return to home at 50 feet per second, so above the warranty limit, but it's testing and we are in a controlled scenario, so going to be doing that. On top of that as well, currently the battery is at 94%. The temperature of the battery is at 87%. So this is collectively both batteries. So individually, the first battery is at 94%, 85 degrees. The second battery is at 94%, 87 degrees. Today it is about 75 degrees in this area, 75 degrees and sunny, and it is very windy. So this drone will be taking a lot of load compensating for the wind as well. So we'll see how it handles with that. Cool. And after that, pretty much 23.3 gallons in the tank out of the 23.8 max. and everything should pretty much be good to go, and we're good to start. So I have it to also return to home, just for additional parameters. I have it to return to home at 30%, just because it is a bit of a distance from us. And also on top of that, it is a hilly terrain. So pretty much ideally have as much battery as possible when it's coming back. Okay, real quick before I start, check the weather. So it is currently 80 degrees. And also the wind gusts are up to 15 miles per hour. The drone is rated for 13.5 miles per hour. I want this to be known because we are going to be flying in heavy terrain, hilly terrain, I mean. And also pretty much everything is kind of steering against this drone right now. So we are testing to see how it handles. This is more of an endurance and like durability test. So cool. All right, so that was the first flight. I did mess up a little bit there. So I actually, you can see probably in the recording that I was adjusting the speed. I lowered it from that 45 feet per second because one thing that I forgot to mention is the most recent update for the T100. It's utilizing the AI features more. So now it's doing a learn with every flight situation. So essentially your first flight should be slower so the drone can map out the area that you are flying by itself. And then the next flight, that's when you can go up to that max speed. So I adjusted it. You can see in the video that it was a little bit shaky in terms of like where the drone was flying, getting a little too close to the trees, that type of thing. So that's when I adjusted it to about, I believe I was hovering around 30 feet per second to 25 feet per second, that type of area. I believe the recommended is around 30 feet per second. Kind of in conclusion, so it was able to fly over around 2 acres in that period. So 2 acres was flown over in 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Again, so we are essentially, since the 2 batteries only lasted for that area, so now I won't be needing to use the second field that I made. So there's that. But also the batteries right now, it is in total at 17%. So battery 1 is at 90%, battery 2 is at 17%. I believe the temperature was around 130 or 129 Fahrenheit. It has been some time since the drone landed, so they have cooled down to about 123 and 122. All right, so when your battery does reach a certain limit, I want to say it's 190 degrees. Once it reaches that limit, your battery does lock out. The reason why is because sometimes situations happen where you are overplaying your battery, or you're not really necessarily taking care of your battery, or you're just in a very hot area. Let's say you don't have access to a cooling kit. The battery will lock out for its own safety, because if it goes any higher, obviously you'll have a risk of fire and everything like that. But that being said, we are actually able to unlock your battery. So you'll be more than welcome to contact us. Essentially, we'll just have to review the situation, what actions led to the battery overheating to that degree, and also kind of just get an overall assessment, maybe even a log file if possible. But after that, we'll be able to pretty much submit a form to DJI, get in contact with DJI, and unlock that battery for you. So I believe the downtime for that would be roughly around maybe like 24 hours to 72 hours. Don't quote me on that, but that's kind of like the rough idea with how quick of a response time we get with these types of forums. So yeah, so now essentially I'm just gonna swap out the batteries again, start a fresh new set, and then continue on with that first task. So now you can see on the remote right here, the LiDAR mapping is actually staying, and we will actually be able to fly over that same area again. This time, instead of having to lower down to 30 to 25 feet per second, I should actually go to 45 feet per second. Because again, with this new firmware update, I flew my field for one time already. So now the drone already knows and has an idea of the obstacles in that field. So now it can fly again at its max operational speed. Again, max operational speed. The max speed of the drone is 65 feet per second, but 45 feet per second is the operational speed, and that's what's recommended because that is ideally what all the obstacle avoidance systems and everything is optimized to. In this new update, and if you're flying farther, or if you're flying faster than 45 feet per second, then the obstacle avoidance is significantly better now. Still, we would recommend 45 feet per second just because typically, especially for an operation like this, you won't be needing to go 65 anyway. So yeah, so I'll just swap out those batteries and we can get everything started. All right, so that essentially was the testing for the dual battery spray system kit for the T100. Again, no spraying, just flying with a heavy payload to max out its load and max out the operation, essentially keeping it under tension the entire time it's doing the operation. As we saw, there was a lot of good stuff going on with the trees being pushed around, a lot of downward force even with this windy condition. Again, the weather app said around 15 miles per hour winds, which is way more than this, not way more, but more than this drone can handle, and it still handled perfectly fine. All right, so that pretty much finishes it up with the dual battery spray system kit for the T100 in terms of testing with orchard trees and hill mode. So again, I'm Ryan, the after sales manager and analyst here at Talos Drones, and be sure to stay tuned for the next video.